One quiet afternoon, amidst the bustling city noise, Mia stood at her window, looking out at the world that always seemed to be moving so fast. At 23, she felt stuck in a place she didn't belong, trapped in a life that felt monotonous and uninspiring. She had dreams, big dreams. Dreams of traveling to places she had only read about in books, of experiencing the world in ways she had never imagined, of escaping the confines of her everyday life. But something always held her back. Maybe next year, she would say to herself, but deep down, she knew she had been telling herself that for far too long. She wanted more from life. She wanted adventure. But fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of leaving everything behind, kept her rooted in place. One day, everything changed. Mia received a postcard from her childhood friend, Clara, who had just returned from a year of traveling through Europe. On the back of the card were the words, "If not now, when?" Those words echoed in her mind for days. If not now, when? Was she really going to wait for the perfect moment that may never come? Or was she going to take control of her life and make her dream a reality? Before we dive deeper into Mia's incredible journey of self-discovery and adventure, don't forget to subscribe to SpeakWell Academy for more inspiring stories and practical tips that can help you take bold steps in your life. Your journey starts here, and we're with you every step of the way. Mia paced back and forth in her small apartment, holding Clara's postcard in her hand. The words, "If not now, when?" had become a mantra. After days of thinking, she made a decision that would change the course of her life forever. She booked a one-way ticket to New Zealand, a place she had always dreamed of visiting but never thought she'd have the courage to go to alone. Her friends were shocked. Her family was concerned. "Why now?" they asked, but Mia couldn't explain it in words. It was something she felt deep in her gut. She needed to go. This wasn't just about travel. It was about finding herself, breaking free from the fear that had held her back for so long. Mia quit her job, packed a suitcase with only the essentials, and boarded a plane. As she sat in the cramped airplane seat, watching the clouds pass by, she felt an overwhelming mixture of fear and excitement. The reality of what she was doing hit her. She was leaving behind everything she knew. But for the first time in her life, it felt right. When Mia stepped off the plane in Auckland, New Zealand, she was hit with the rush of cool, salty air. She stood there for a moment, taking in the beauty of the distant mountains and the unfamiliar sights and sounds of the city. But with the excitement came anxiety. This was it. She was alone, thousands of miles from home, in a foreign country where she didn't know a single soul. Her initial excitement was quickly replaced by self-doubt. Could she really do this? What if something went wrong? The first few days were tough. Mia struggled to navigate the city. The public transport system was confusing, and the jet lag made her feel exhausted. She felt homesick, and the temptation to return home tugged at her heart. But every time she felt like giving up, she remembered Clara's words. "If not now, when?" About a week into her journey, Mia found herself sitting alone in a small cafe, staring out at the rain pouring down outside. She had planned to spend the day exploring, but the rain had ruined her plans. She sipped her coffee, feeling the weight of loneliness sink in. What was she doing here? Was this all a mistake? She missed her friends, her family, the familiarity of home. The adventure she had dreamed of felt more like a challenge than a dream come true. As she sat there, lost in thought, an older woman sat down at the table next to her. She smiled warmly at Mia and introduced herself as Margaret, a local who had spent most of her life in New Zealand. They struck up a conversation, and Mia found herself opening up about her fears and doubts. Margaret listened patiently, then said something Mia would never forget. The best journeys aren't the ones that go according to plan. The best journeys are the ones that challenge you, the ones that make you face your fears and grow. You didn't come all this way to stay the same, did you? Mia felt tears well up in her eyes. Margaret was right. This journey wasn't supposed to be easy. It was supposed to push her, challenge her, force her out of her comfort zone. She had come here to grow, to discover who she was and what she was capable of. From that day on, Mia's mindset shifted. Instead of focusing on what was going wrong, she started to focus on what was going right. She began to see every challenge as an opportunity to grow. When she got lost, she asked for directions and discovered hidden gems in the city. When she felt lonely, she reached out to other travelers and locals, building connections and forming new friendships. One of the most transformative moments came when Mia decided to hike the Tongariro Alpine Crossing, one of the most famous and challenging treks in New Zealand. The hike was long and grueling, and there were moments when Mia thought she couldn't go any further. But with each step, she pushed through the pain and exhaustion, determined to make it to the summit. When she finally reached the top, the view took her breath away. The vast expanse of mountains and valleys stretched out before her, and for the first time in a long time, Mia felt at peace. She had done it. She had pushed herself beyond what she thought was possible and come out stronger on the other side. As Mia continued her journey, she realized that it wasn't just the places she visited that made the trip special. It was the people she met along the way. She connected with travelers from all over the world, each with their own stories and reasons for being there. Some were on their own journeys of self-discovery, just like Mia. Others were escaping from something, searching for something, or simply living in the moment. One evening, while staying at a small hostel on the South Island, Mia met a group of travelers who quickly became her closest friends. There was Emma from England, who had left her job as a teacher to travel the world. There was Marco from Italy, who was taking a break from his high-stress job in finance. And there was Aidan from Canada, who had been traveling for over a year, documenting his journey through photography. Together, they explored the stunning landscapes of New Zealand, from the breathtaking fjords of Milford Sound to the rolling hills of Hobbiton. They laughed, shared stories, and supported each other through the ups and downs of travel. For the first time in a long time, Mia felt like she was part of something bigger than herself. She wasn't just a traveler. She was part of a community of people who understood the challenges and rewards of exploring the world. If you're enjoying Mia's journey so far and want to hear more inspiring stories like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button and join our community at SpeakWell Academy. We share motivational stories, practical travel tips, and insights to help you embrace life's adventures. Don't miss out. Subscribe now. Mia's leap off that bungee platform was more than just a physical jump. It was a metaphor for the transformation she had undergone. The girl who once let fear dictate her decisions was gone, replaced by someone who had learned to embrace the unknown, to face her fears head-on, and to grow from every challenge. As she stood there, still trembling from the adrenaline rush, Mia reflected on the journey that had brought her to this point. Just months earlier, she had been paralyzed by doubt and insecurity. Now, she felt an overwhelming sense of freedom, knowing she could face whatever life threw her way. Her friends cheered as she unhooked from the bungee cord, their voices mingling with the sound of the river rushing below. Mia looked at them, realizing how much they had become a part of her journey. They had supported her, pushed her to do things she never thought possible, and in return, she had found the courage to take on even her biggest fears. That night, as they sat around a campfire, Mia shared what the experience had meant to her. "I used to think fear was something that had to be avoided, something that held me back," she said, her voice soft but strong. "But now I realize that fear is just a part of life. It's not about avoiding it. It's about learning to live with it, to use it as a way to push yourself further than you ever thought you could go." Her words resonated deeply with her friends. They all had their own fears, their own challenges they were facing, but Mia's story inspired them. If she could conquer her fear of heights, maybe they could conquer their own fears too. Whether it was speaking in public, starting a new career, or leaving a toxic relationship. As the weeks went by, Mia's confidence only grew. She continued to explore New Zealand, but now her perspective had shifted. Every new experience, whether it was hiking a challenging trail or striking up a conversation with a stranger, felt like a victory. Her fear of failure, of not being good enough, had diminished. She realized that life wasn't about being perfect or having everything figured out. It was about trying, failing, learning, and growing. It was about embracing the journey, no matter how messy or uncertain it might be. Mia's newfound confidence spilled over into every aspect of her life. She no longer hesitated to try new things. She took surfing lessons, even though she wasn't a strong swimmer. She learned to cook traditional Maori dishes from a local chef, even though her first few attempts were a disaster. She even started keeping a travel blog, something she had always wanted to do but had been too afraid to start, worried that no one would care about her experiences. To her surprise, people loved her blog. Her posts, filled with honesty and vulnerability, resonated with readers from all over the world. They followed her adventures, shared her struggles, and celebrated her victories. For the first time, Mia felt like her voice mattered, like she had something valuable to offer. After nearly a year of exploring New Zealand, Mia knew it was time to return home. But this time, she wasn't returning as the person she had been when she left. She had grown, changed, and discovered parts of herself she didn't even know existed. As she stepped off the plane in her hometown, she felt a mix of emotions. She was excited to see her family and friends, but she also felt apprehensive. Would she fit back into her old life? Would the people she loved notice how much she had changed? Her fears weren't unfounded. In the first few weeks back, Mia struggled to adjust. Her friends wanted to talk about the same things they always had: work, relationships, and the latest gossip. But Mia's mind was still filled with the beauty of New Zealand's landscapes, the people she had met, and the lessons she had learned. She felt out of place, like she no longer belonged. But instead of letting this feeling overwhelm her, Mia decided to use it as an opportunity to share her experiences. She organized a small gathering and invited her closest friends and family. As they gathered around, she shared stories of her travels, the highs and lows, and the challenges she had overcome. At first, her friends were quiet, unsure of what to say. But as Mia continued to speak, they began to open up. They shared their own fears and challenges, admitting that they had always admired Mia's courage but had been too afraid to follow in her footsteps. Mia realized that her journey wasn't just about her. It was about inspiring others to take their own leaps of faith. She encouraged her friends to step out of their comfort zones, whether that meant taking a solo trip, pursuing a passion they had been neglecting, or simply trying something new. Her words had an impact. Her best friend Lily, who had always been afraid of traveling alone, booked a trip to Italy. Her cousin James, who had been stuck in a dead-end job for years, finally had the courage to quit and start his own business. Even her parents, who had always been cautious and risk-averse, started planning a long-awaited trip to Japan. Mia's journey had come full circle. The girl who had once been too afraid to leave her comfort zone was now helping others break free from theirs. She had discovered that the most rewarding part of her journey wasn't just the places she had seen or the things she had done. It was the way she had inspired others to live boldly and fearlessly. As Mia settled back into her life, she realized that her journey was far from over. New Zealand had been the first step, but there was still so much of the world she wanted to see, so many challenges she wanted to face, so many opportunities to grow. She started planning her next adventure, this time to Southeast Asia, where she would explore the ancient temples of Cambodia, hike through the jungles of Thailand, and volunteer at an orphanage in Vietnam. She knew it wouldn't be easy, but that was the point. She had learned that the best things in life come from pushing through the hard times, from facing your fears and coming out stronger on the other side. As Mia packed her bags for her next adventure, she smiled, knowing that this time, she wasn't afraid. She was ready. Ready to embrace the unknown, ready to face whatever challenges came her way, and ready to continue growing into the person she was meant to be. Mia's story is a reminder that life is an adventure, and the only way to truly live it is to step out of your comfort zone and face your fears. Whether it's traveling to a new country, starting a new job, or simply trying something new, the journey is what matters. If Mia's journey has inspired you, make sure to subscribe to SpeakWell Academy for more stories, tips, and advice on how to live boldly and fearlessly. Together, we'll conquer